All right. Are y'all ready to have a good time tonight? Honey, we have got a show for you. We're going to have some fun tonight. I promise you, we are going to have some fun tonight. Let me check in first. How's everybody doing? Let me know if you can hear me. If my sound is coming in clear, light up those comments. Make sure you like as you come through the door. Welcome, Angela. It's her first time here. Welcome to the palace. We have fun over here. I had to search high and low. Hold on, let me take a glass of wine because I had to search high and low to find this panel for you. Okay? And what we're talking about tonight is we're talking the single woman. Are women better off single than sorry? And there's no better way to find out than to ask a bunch of successful single women. Okay? They are not going to disappoint. We are going to keep it real like we always do. And without further delay, let me introduce you to my panel. Ladies, please. Let's check in. All righty. Calloway, welcome. Who else do we have? All right. We got Ty. We got Jamala. Welcome. And we have Jade. Welcome, ladies. How are you tonight?
Doing good.
Hey now, hey.
Great. Got my wine.
You got your wine? All right.
Ready for this
Cheers.
girl.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
Clink, 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 clink.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Later on, we're going to have a special guest that's going to join us. She'll be here a little bit later. But what I would like to do first, let's talk about why these ladies are here. According to research, statistics show that single women are better off single. They tend to live longer, they're happier from a whole person health approach, and they have more money. Surprisingly, they have more money according to research. So let me start with you, Esther E. Calloway. From a scientific perspective, do you agree or disagree that women are better off single? And if so, why?
So I'm going to say that, and I can't speak for every woman, obviously, right? Because we all have different desires, different wants. For me, I don't necessarily think that I'm better off single long term. I think that I'm very happy, and I know that I'm very happy with where I am right now in my singleness. But that's not necessarily where I see myself long term. I don't want to stay single forever. And so I understand the scientific research, but I don't think I was a part of that study because I would have told them.
Hey, I love that answer. You kept it real.
Yeah, I want companionship, and so that's for me as I'm speaking my own truth. Every woman is different, but yeah, I want companionship for sure.
Okay. Well, Ty, I see you shaking your head. So I'm going to pass the mic to you. What are your thoughts on this scientific study?
And I agree a lot of what Miss E. Calloway said. I do believe there is some truth to that study. If a woman is in a relationship that's not fulfilling, where her needs aren't being met, where she's pulling all of the emotional labor, because we know that happens sometimes. I feel like in that instance, how can you be happy? But if a woman is in a safe relationship where she feels safe, where she can grow, where they're helping one another grow, they have the same values, mutual goals. Absolutely. Like I want companionship too. But I want it to be a safe, thriving relationship where it already adds to my very full and very happy life. So yes.
Oh, very full, very happy. Because we got some men in the chat. So when you say safe, what does that mean? So if you were schooling the men that are logged in right now watching, what does safe mean for you?
To me, safe means trust. I mean, trust is first and foremost for me. I think in order for me to feel safe with a man, there has to be accountability. He has to be someone that I feel safe going to. And if there's something that I want to talk about, he's okay. You know what? I hear you. Let me, that openness, open to hear, to get feedback, because I'm always open to feedback. Like I want to be the best version of myself. So if you tell me something about myself, I'm going to actually listen and okay, let me process this. So I think accountability is huge. And then just there's just something about a strong masculine man that just knows who he is, has a purpose, knows what he wants in life. Like I know what I want in life. I need you to know that also in order for me to feel safe with you. I think those are the big ones for me.
That was a good one. Lady Jade, we got to pass the mic to you. According to scientific research, what are your thoughts? Do you agree or disagree that women are better off single, and why?
Okay.
We'll come back to Lady Jade. I think her camera may have frozen up. Jamala, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to say a woman is better off wherever she is postured and positioned and acting in purpose, where she is valued and appreciated, happy, healthy, and whole. Wherever that is, whether it's single or within partnership, I think that's where she's operating in her best or at her best self.
At her best. What does it mean to be appreciated?
Ooh.
Who wants to take that one first? Who wants to take that one? Yes, I told y'all we did not come to play.
I think it could be subjective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I can say appreciation for me could be actually affirming what I've done or seeing my intangibles, not even the tangible, the intangible aspects of me, and just kind of like affirming that they see it and that they are I don't want to say appreciative of it, right? Seeing it and that, because sometimes you don't feel seen. So I think just being in that, being able to be seen in what you can offer intrinsically and extrinsically, like all of that is kind of what it is for me, I think, at times.
I think that's fair. And I'm going to go back to Lady Jade. Lady Jade, according to scientific research, do you agree or disagree that women are better off single?
I'm going to completely disagree.
Okay.
Going to completely disagree. I think it's definitely an individual choice, but that certainly isn't a scientific fact one way or another as to whether or not women are better off single. As a personal opinion, I absolutely would disagree.
You know, I couldn't help but to think, I said, I wonder if they were, when they researched, not that I'm married, but I couldn't help but to think, are these white women, black women? Like, was there come on, am I preaching?
Come on. I was literally thinking the same thing, Queen. I'm like, who is a part of this research? Because,
Yeah.
and I also feel like, as a black woman, we some of our experiences are very familiar and similar. So, I grew up in church. I have a very spiritual background, and so growing up in that type of environment, it almost allows you to have a certain level of expectation when it comes to relationships, right? And so that doesn't necessarily mean that as a woman, you have to desire being married. However, we also know that biblically, you're stronger together as a unit versus by yourself for a man or a woman. And so that's something that I really have held on to, I've gravitated to, and that's just a desire that I have. But I wanted to mention, you asked about a definition of appreciation. And I just wanted to come back to that because for me, that definition says that you see my value. You understand what I bring, not only to this world, to society, but to our relationship. You understand what I bring to the table. You see the skill set in me that other people, even in my work environment, may not necessarily see. You're able to identify those things and reinforce it. And so for me, that's so imperative in a relationship when we're talking about a healthy space, right? A space where you can be transparent, you can be honest with your mate, with yourself. And so I think that value is so important. Like, how can you have a relationship when you don't see the value in one another?
I agree. I think when you think about the psychology of human beings, they said there's three things that humans want. They want to be heard, they want to be seen, and they want to be recognized. And Lady Jade, we lost you for a second. Um, Ty said an important component. No, Jamala said an important component is feeling appreciated. And I said, what does it mean to be appreciated? So I'm gonna come to you and then I'm gonna go back to the other ladies. Lady Jade, what does it mean to you to be appreciated in a relationship?
What comes to mind for me is, the 5 love languages. And for me, words of affirmation has always been consistently important. And so when I think of words of affirmation, for me, that's not "you're pretty" or "you're beautiful today" or, "I love your outfit." Words of affirmation, absolutely for me, is a sense of security in how someone communicates and how it is received by me. So words of affirmation and that appreciation is shown through a verbal communication. And ultimately, that communication leads to some level of intention and action. So for me, it's kind of a combination of things. But the simple terms is words of affirmation, and that appreciation is shown through a specific communication pattern.
I hope y'all hear that. Love is a choice and some action and energy behind it.
Absolutely.
Yep. Jamala, you threw it out there. We're going to throw it back to you, sis.
I'm gonna catch it and run with it. What is it? What is it?
What does it mean to be appreciated? How does a man know
Oh,
what that
I
means?
answered. Remember?
Oh, I'm sorry. So we're waiting on Ty. Yes.
Oh gosh, what can I add to it? I mean, I think I'm just gonna kind of second what the other ladies were saying, just recognizing my value. I feel like I'm someone who brings my all to relationships. I'm not in a relationship. It's serious business to me. So just appreciating my efforts, appreciating the value I bring. I think that's a big one for me.
So when you think about being single, what are some benefits to being single as a woman? Who would like to take this one first? All right, Lady Jade, you're up.
It's funny because I'm quick to want to answer this one, but I'm a relationship person. Like there is nothing more complete to me than being in relationship. However, I'm a solo traveler and I've been to over 47 countries, and more than 95% of them I've traveled solo. So one of the benefits to me is having the freedom of choice, having the freedom to explore. And ultimately, that gives me the opportunity to learn self. And so in that singleness, it does give you flexibility, where you're not having to answer to someone or asking a certain level of entitlement or position. It's an opportunity for growth. So single isn't always a bad place to be in as long as you're using it to, your fullest capacity. And I think that both in business and in leisure travel, I've been able to do that. And so those are two of my top benefits in being single.
I love to ask questions, and you threw something out there. Just talking about your travel. What's something that you've learned about yourself throughout your journeys around the world?
I am so much stronger than I ever gave myself credit for. I'm often amazed at people when they ask about, how safe did I feel, or how did you feel, going to a restaurant or a bar and dining by yourself. And it's like things I never even thought about as being an issue because I've gotten so used to doing it. And
Mhm.
navigate those times that it doesn't even occur to me. So I think my own strength, how I've been able to network, literally internationally, and do it with such ease. And so, yeah, that's the strength that I learned.
I love it. I love it. Jamala, it's only right to go to you next because we've all seen your singleness play out on national television on a reality show, Ready to Love Miami season 6. Woo! Yes. So we're going to pause and hold some space because I'm sure that was a tough process. Any benefits of being single after going through that process? Now that you look back, where you are, where you were, and what you know now. What's some benefits of being single, in your opinion?
I think it's the same. I think uh, biggest benefit is level of expectations for other people and for yourself, like having none. Right, you're going to hold someone accountable to what they say and what they do when you're in partnership, and if you don't have that, then you don't need to do any of it. It's a free bird situation. um, I think the other benefits are not having to do any type of check-ins, right? Or having, again, a level of expectation that someone's checking in with you. Or um, another benefit, I would say, is growth that you find within yourself. So similar to what Lady J said, I think evolving in yourself and seeing who you are as a singular is very important, so you know exactly what it is that you like, what you don't like.
Mhm.
And then when you come in partnership, like that's a mirror for you to see, to kind of gauge, right? Or be like a Likert scale of like where you are, if you may. So I think there are a lot of benefits of being single. I really like the getting to know your own strength. What Lady J said, that's really big. Like how you operate alone. I know personally, I'll give a
Mm.
personal story. I know for me, being single in business, as I'm growing, as I was growing my different entrepreneurial like side activities, that ability and free will to be able to and free space to stay up as late as I need to, right? Not have to,
Right.
look for my phone or an expectation to, you know, come to bed or whatever it may
Yeah.
be. You have this open area of where you can fill your time with what it is that you need to accomplish without consideration of anyone else, right? I am not anyone's emergency contact. Please call 911. Like I can put my phone on do not disturb and do
Yes.
and finish anything that I said. My tasks are checked off. And not to say it like this, but within a relationship, especially if you're business minded, especially if you're a corporate person, especially if you just have a full life, like adding in another person is
Mm.
another task. I think being single also for me, just to finish it up, has really heightened the way I take care of self. My self care cannot be shaken. The amount of self care that I provide to myself and what it is that I need to really feel my best version, I
Mhm.
learned while single. So those have been the benefits for myself, and just in general speaking, what some benefits are.
I think that's really important for Black women. We are so many things to everybody else. And at the end of the day, if there's anything left, we'll take it for ourselves. So the fact that you were able to tie in self-care as a benefit of being single, I think that's important. So that's a great call out. Queen Calloway, what have you discovered when we think about the benefits of being single? How has that been advantageous for you? Did I
Yeah.
say that right? Or did I just make up something?
Advantageous, I think.
Okay, yeah, I was close.
I got what you were saying.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so for me, I've been single for, I would say, about 2 years. And I think one of the things I completely agree with everything that the ladies said already. So I'm just kind of going to add to that. On top of those things, what I really enjoyed is the ability to date freely, like the
Ooh,
ability to meet a guy, have a conversation with them, get to know them, go out on a date, hang out. Like all of those things have been an opportunity for me to, one, understand what I like and what I don't like outside of the
mhm,
relationship that I've already been in. And then I've actually been able to meet some really great men that have actually set the bar a little bit higher than my previous relationship, so that now, as I am at a space now where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to actually be in a committed relationship, my standards have been elevated because of my
ooh,
experience with dating grown men. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a different at 43, the dating pool is different definitely than 33, but the men are more mature, they're older, they're more experienced, they understand what it means to date a woman, they understand what it means to take someone out, they understand what a high quality date looks like. And so for me, I've really just enjoyed having those experiences and now being able to walk into a relationship and understand what I will accept and what I won't accept. And that goes for the bad and the good, right? So it's some things that were flags for me that I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm glad I recognized that early, because maybe 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have recognized it. I may have been in a relationship with that person for a couple of years before I saw it. So the red flags were great, but there were also a lot of green flags. You know, we talk about the red flags so much as women, but we don't recognize those green flags, those flags that say, like, this is a really good guy. And just because it didn't necessarily work out with me, you know, in those relationships or those friendships, it doesn't mean that they weren't quality men. It just meant that we weren't a good match, you know. So it was definitely something that I took from those experiences. It's like, yeah, thank you for showing me that when men want something, they know how to chase after it. When men want something, they know how to pursue it. When men want to take you out, they know how to fly you out to another city or fly in to come see you. These are things and expectations that I now have for whoever my next mate will be. It's like, if you ain't doing that, we can't do nothing.
I'm gonna just pause and go to the altar with this one.
Cheers.
Because you really
Let me put my glasses on.
Hold on, y'all. I think you took us to church. I mean, I really do. You said so much on behalf of the men, on behalf of the women, and you kept it fair. Because I think a lot of times women crucify men, or we can end up crucifying men if it's not a good fix. I mean, if it's not a good fit. He's not a good guy. No, it just wasn't the right fit at the time. So I like the fact that you called that out.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you called out being single has afforded you the opportunity to date, because our guest that's coming on a little bit later went viral this week. Her name is B. Taylor. She has gone viral because she expressed the same thing on a panel of men. She used a different word. Oh my God. And the manosphere went crazy because she said, as a single woman, she has exercised her freedom and dated a couple of men. No intimacy. She's just gone out on some dates. They went completely crazy about that. So I'm really glad that as a woman, you were able to paint a picture of what that entails, what that looks like for you. Ty. Yes, I'm going to pass the mic to you. The benefits of being single. What have you discovered?
I'm going to obviously agree with everything the lady said. A huge one for me is just having the time to concentrate on my own personal growth. I mean, same with the traveling. Every time I travel, and I'm a big solo traveler also, I just find out new things about myself. I absolutely love that. And then just kind of that self-love that I give myself every single day. I know that when I am dating or when I am ready to approach a relationship again, I'm showing up as my most authentic self, because I know myself in and out now. Like, that is, I have taken this time being single to not only pour love into myself, but get to know myself, know my triggers, I'm all about doing the inner work. So I think that's a huge plus for me, is I know my next relationship, or even, like I said, I'm currently dating too. When I'm dating, I'm showing up as my most authentic self. There's none of that. I've healed all that past past stuff for sure.
I love it. I've heard healed, freedom, self-care, all of those things that makes a good wife. So can we let that linger? Can we let that linger? There's a question that came in with Talk with Jeffrey. Ladies, true or false? We're just going to go straight across the line. True or false? Question for the ladies who are single. Does being single for a long time lead to more of a self-centered mindset in a relationship? Ty, true or false?
I don't think self-centered. I think you know what you want. I think you approach a relationship with stronger boundaries. And so I'm not going to say it's self-centered, but you know what you will and will not allow. You know what's going to work for you. To some people that may come across as self-centeredness, but I think ultimately you know what's going to work for you. So I'm going to have to disagree with that. I'm going to have to disagree. Okay. I just think you have stronger boundaries.
We got one false. Queen Calloway.
Yeah, I would say false as well. I believe that if you're self-centered, you're going to be self-centered regardless of how long you've been in a relationship, how long you've been outside of a relationship. you're just self-centered, you know. So regardless of whether you're with someone or not, that just may be a part of that person's nature. But I don't think that is determined based on how long you've been single. So I would say
All right.
false.
Lady Jade.
I'm going to definitely say false. I think self-aware. I think the longer that you've had to sit with self and, you know, what all the ladies said on the panel, a certain level of growth just makes you more self-aware. So I'm going to say false for that too.
All right. Queen Jamala.
I'm going to say it makes you rigid. It absolutely makes you rigid. I can tell when a man, even a woman, has been single for a certain amount of time. You are set on the air condition being on 72 degrees, and there's no compromise. Don't come here asking for 73, sir. You don't have here. You know, like it's my older sister. She's in the chat. I'm talking about you, girl. Like even men, like I like it done this way. And it's not to take away from being self-aware, but I can tell. I can sometimes even name it. You've been single about 3 years, haven't you? Like it's that intense. Like my discernment on that, I immediately know that you've been single for a while. Not necessarily say self-centered if we want to change the word, but you absolutely become rigid. And if you're not willing to compromise, like it's always going to be friction within that relationship, especially for a female if you don't have a patient man that's willing to sit for it, or vice versa. It's one of those main conflicts that you hit, because you like the way things are, the way you want it, and don't want to change because you've been doing it for 5 years alone, doing it all. Like it's a whole thing. I've seen it every time. And because I've seen it, and because I became aware of it, was something that when I'm single and I'm seeing it's pushing over a time frame, or I'm not even in a situation where I'm entertaining someone, I'm like, I need to make sure I do not get rigid, because it happens. I've definitely seen it happen with myself, and I see it in my conversation. I'm like, I have to check myself when I'm dating. Like, oh, that's not going to work in a relation. That works when you're single, girl. So
listen. So talk with Jeffrey. We did a vote now. We went across the panel. If we're talking in the language of spades, you got 3 in a possible. Jamala's lean. You got 3 in a possible. And you know, Black folks, you better call your hand right. So we got a possible. Don't count it. It's a possible. I got a question, ladies. We've talked a lot about the men, your perspective of dating, but let's keep it funky and let's keep it real. Would you date you? Ty, would you date you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
no, that's right.
Yes. I mean, I feel like I have to embody the qualities of the partner that I'm seeking, and I know I do. So, I mean, I'm someone. I feel like I'm successful. I feel like my intentions are good. I feel like everything that I'm seeking in a partner, I absolutely have. And I obviously want to learn from my partner. We're not going to go into all that, but yes, I would 100%. Yes.
Okay, so you choosing you going hard in the paint for you.
Absolutely.
All right, Lady Jade, would you choose you, sis?
Look, I'm wifing me, okay? Absolutely.
Girl, let me drink today.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, because I didn't always feel that way, and not because I didn't embody the qualities, but I actually felt like it felt conceited, arrogant, whatever word you choose, to say, yes, I am a total package. Yes, I bring this, and this to the table. And, you know, are you everyone's cup of tea? Absolutely not. But like you said, just because you aren't the right fit for someone doesn't lessen the fact that you bring a total package. And for me, that was work. Like, it didn't come just because, you know, I'm 51 and it came with age. No, it came with work and experience.
Wait a minute, hold on. How old?
I'm 51.
Nobody
in.
believes that. Girl,
Come on, lean in. Y'all not gonna play with us tonight.
What?
Lean
What?
in, sis.
Girl,
Yes.
you ain't close nothing. I ain't got time for this. You're not gonna sit here and lie on Beyonce's internet. Let me close this.
All right.
Yes. Yes, queen.
Oh,
Yes. We're gonna celebrate this Black excellence over here.
Okay.
Yes, cheers.
And it had to get comfortable with that too, because, I have 2 older children, and even the fact that hopefully don't look my age, you just have to settle into that. It's like with experience, there are some great things that come with that aging process. And I am so comfortable with who I am and where I am in life right now. Like this is my season, and I love this space.
I love it. I love it. Queen Calloway, would you date you? Keep it real.
Honey, I'm a catch.
Yeah.
I'm with Jade. I'm gonna put a ring on it. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and I completely agree. Like maybe 10, 15 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said that because I was still figuring out who I was as a woman. But at 43, like I know who I am in God. I know why and what my purpose is in the world and why I exist. And so I know that I'm a Proverbs 31, honey, all day. All day.
Hey, quicken.
Yes.
Come
on here.
Y'all better pass the offering plate.
Oh, girl, I was looking. Okay.
Yes, Lady Jamala, would you date you?
Beyond the shadow of a doubt. Let me tell you something. And all my good outweighs my bad. Because I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm absolutely perfect. I'd lie to you if I said that. But all my good outweighs my bad. Listen, I choose you.
Yeah. Trouble in highway. Yes. That was beautiful. It wouldn't be right. I gotta ask the girl that went viral. We are not playing today. B. Taylor, welcome to the chat. House Princess. Welcome. Yes.
Hello, hi.
I'm laying you out solo because you went viral.
Ooh,
But it
I
takes a
did.
village, baby. It takes a village. So you were surrounded by all these queens, but I got to put you on the spot.
Yes. Okay.
Would you date you?
Oh, I'm 30 and I thought that I would have dated me until I dated me. The same things when I the same things I complained about and I was telling family and friends, they were like, you act the same way. And I was like, oh my God, what? I do? Like, what do you mean? They're like, Brittany, you're literally dating somebody who is just like you. And although like I emphasize on having a big heart and loving so hard and going like ride and die, like there's other sides of me that needs improvement. And I wasn't able to really just realize how much improvement I needed until I dated somebody who was the exact reflection of me. And I was like, dang it, like, all right, I need to fix these things. So I would say that I would like somebody like me that have the same qualities, but exactly like me right now, no, because I need some growing to do. So yeah,
that's okay. That's what we're here for, right? It's a constant cycle of evolving, a constant cycle of evolution. I have to give a shout out to we on Lock Nation. Thank you for the super chat. $10 donated. We appreciate it. Baby, that's a 2-piece and a pepper. We appreciate it. That is a 2-piece and a pepper on Tuesday. What is it? $1.99. So we can get 5. So thank you. We appreciate it. All right. So let's go to the next question. When you think about your dating history, is there one that got away? One you should have taken more seriously and or been more patient with?
yes.
I'm gonna go with B. Taylor, go ahead. Go ahead.
I definitely can say there was one that got away, but I don't like to say that anymore because I can see the potential of that person, right? And he's super successful. And I'll say it, like, it was a guy in college. I passed him up for my son's father. And although he's still a great man, we just didn't work out. But now I see like he's a big time reporter for the NFL. Don't want to give too much away, but he's doing really big things in the sports industry, and he has a beautiful wife and everything. But because we both have a career in media, he needed a wife that was going to be there to travel with him, and that probably wouldn't have been me anyway. But sometimes I think about like I should have gave him more of a chance. He was, yeah, but we just didn't connect on that level. So that's the one I can say I'm kind of like, I'll look at his stuff and be like, ooh, that kind of stings a little bit. But I think about like our jobs and careers, it probably wouldn't have worked out.
Did you apologize to that man?
No.
Or were you sorry? Or were you sorry for that man?
No, because he is happy with his wife. There's nothing I need to apologize about, Like I'm a firm believer in what God has. No one can break. So as much as I can think or hope something worked out, like I'm pretty sure that if it was meant to be, it would have happened. So I'm a firm believer in that.
All right. Ty, was there one that slipped through the cracks?
No.
I can put you on solo.
There hasn't been, no. I mean, I've had some really beautiful relationships. I have been married before. I'm divorced, and my ex-husband is one of my great friends. And I had a relationship after my marriage that I crossed a boundary that I knew I had, and that's the only reason that didn't work out. Wonderful, wonderful man. But no, there's not. I can honestly say there's not one I feel got away. I feel like every relationship I've had is a gift, and I've learned tremendous things about myself in every single one of them. But thankfully, there's no one I'm like, dang, I messed that up.
Hey, man, lady, you know what? There was one that got away from me. I think I was 12 or 13. Does that count?
That's funny.
Lady Jade, please excuse me. It's your turn. Was there one that got away?
I'm gonna have to say no too, because I'm like that little girl in my mind that grew up knowing I wanted to be married, and so I might not have always been the version of myself that I am today, but I can honestly say that if I was in a relationship and it was committed, then I gave it 100%. And so, no, I didn't miss any opportunities. And if they aren't here, they're not here for a reason. And if it didn't work out, there was a reason behind it. And the learning lessons were there. So I'm going to say no. I didn't let anything slip.
That's fair. Queen Calloway.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. I've dated again some really great guys, some great men, and there have been times that maybe in the moment I felt like that, but then God showed me, like, you know what, no, girl, I was blocking that for a reason. So I'm right now, as I look back, I'm like, no, it hasn't been, because God has showed me a reason why that thing didn't work out.
We're going to go to Lady Jamala. Was there one you let slip through the cracks? You wasn't acting right, and now that you look back, you was maybe doing the most. That was a good man.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't live in a space of regret, but married now, 2 kids in, but absolutely. It was definitely a young and dumb moment, but I was like 25 times, I'm ready to get married. Like, I don't gotta be in the bushes for you. You just too perfect and spoiled. I was spoiled rotten. So to even hear him hear him say, like, I'm gonna marry you, just wait. I'm like, no. What was I thinking about? And when I look back, would I have been ready for marriage at that time? No. But I think it was just me really ready to be in that. I think he was just a great package. Not even good. I love that. I think that was the best thing about him, was it wasn't just good, it was great. And that's really hard to come by. And that was coming out of like undergrad, and I'm getting ready to go into my master. Well, a little bit before getting into my master's, we were dating.
Yeah.
And it was just a good space. And we were shacking up. We were shacking up. And I, you do something like that. You take jumps like that. And you're like, well, it's going to go down the drain. And it didn't. Like, it was just a good space. I could speak from a positive place from doing that. When a lot of people don't recommend that. I probably at that time, I wouldn't recommend it. But even in the situation as to why I think that, like, I had actually got sick and he took care of me during that while I was in the hospital. When I got out the hospital, my mother was just like, whoo, what you gonna do? I'm trying to marry him, man. Like, so I think that person, the all of him was great. And it's I don't think I've come across half of
Yeah.
him yet.
I
That's
saw
ooh, swallow that. Ooh.
I asked you ladies that because a lot of times that's something a man, I've heard plenty of men say, damn,
Oh, they
I
would
let
say
one
that.
get away. I let one get away. And I never thought about that. I'm like, did I let one get away? Have other women let one get away?
It's
Or
usually me.
yeah, were we the ones, right? Somebody put in a chat that they said that research shows that when you get married later in life, you're often more successful. I was looking for that question. I'm going to say I think I agree. I got married at 40. I really believe a woman blooms when that late 30, 40 range. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's by like God's design, but everything happened. It's like the world just opened up for me. I got married, we got our home, like money just started flowing in. I just started taking life more seriously, my work, my job, people around me. And I don't know if it's because we realize life is so short. And oftentimes I see that a lot of Black women get a lot of flack for aging. And we often age well. I see a lot of times that people use aging as an insult as opposed to a compliment. What do you ladies have to say to that? I'll start with you, Lady Ty.
About aging as an insult? Oh no, I don't listen to that noise.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, it's aging is a gift. And kind of like what you said, when I look back at who I was at 21 versus who I am now at 41, girl, it's leaps and bounds, and the growth that I've taken, and the growth. I'm just a completely different person. So no, I've never subscribed to that. I've never been one of those women that lie about my age. I'm aging with grace. Every year I'm getting better and better, and that's literally true. Every year I get better and better. So no, I embrace it. I think it's weaponized against women for some reason, and I think it's absurd.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. Lady J, we just honored you, sis, because you look damn good. And if they trickle over to your Instagram page, they'll really see what you're working with. And
No,
we're gonna put that in the chat. We're gonna put that in the chat because this lady didn't even call out what she does, her experience. You were really low key about your producing skills and the TV networks that you've worked with. The fitness, the level of fitness. You've been very humble, but I'm gonna give you your roses publicly.
I appreciate you for that. I do.
Absolutely.
You know, I see it. You know, I'd be blind to say it's not. You know, even people in my DMs are usually pretty surprised to know that I have a daughter that is their age. And so, but I do think women that especially are in that over 40 range have to contend with the stigma that goes along with as you get older, choices supposedly become less, or your availability to marry or to date successfully becomes less. That although is not true, it is a stigma, right? And so either you have to have confidence within yourself and those circles that you keep to know that neither one of those factors are going to prevent successful dating or finding love or marriage at this age. But you also do have to understand that maybe what you're looking for with that self-assurance, with that self-assurity of knowing self, you know, the dating pool becomes slimmer only because you are more specific in those things that you want. But as far as age in and of itself, hell no. I'm living my life right now. And I really do pride myself on being physically fit, on being mentally fit, and most of all, emotionally ready. So no challenge here.
That's great. Lady Jamala, you're next. The aging process. What do you have to say to this whole this new platform of men that have just risen from the phoenix that uses aging against women as an insult?
I think I'm in the space where I really don't hear it either. Like, and honestly, just as I think it's always been a thing where older men kind of go through that midlife crisis and then they divorce and end up with the younger secretary at the office. Like that's always been a thing, right? Like that's not just made up in movies, right? Movies typically emulate reality. So for me, I just know what I've experienced is I actually have younger men that typically are trying to date me. So I don't even fall in this space of trying to hear what that speculation is about older women not being able to find or their sphere closing or that circle closing. Because if you're bad, you're bad. Like if you got it together, you're for someone, and it doesn't matter what age you are. So I'm really not subscribing to that. I'm not going to take that in. It's not even something I sit in fear about. You know, as I'm getting older, there's certain things that come about, and I start to think about or have to think about. Like with kids, I don't even think about like, okay, you know, the kid situation. If I don't have someone now, what's going to happen later? It's the biological clock. That's a true reality that may hit me, but in the sense of like sweating it and being super concerned, I'm not so similar to that. That's not a concern that comes up with my dating pool being smaller because of that. I think it's nonsense. It's the same thing with like the high value men that are not worth nothing. So sip on that. Are we all sipping on that? Shade. Honey, shade. Let me cut the light for the shade.
Oh, girl. Oh. Can you donate that? I mean, where can we buy those from our ladies in the chat?
You better pull out the shade fan.
Can we that was lovely.
It was perfect.
That was lovely. Queen Calloway, did I get you or did I
No, but I mean, I love my age. I've never experienced or been in a situation where I felt degraded by a man, you know, based on my age. I would say not directly, because within these 2 years of being single, I was doing online dating as well. And so if you've experienced online dating, you know that men will put it literally in their profile, like, even if they're 50, like I'm looking for someone 30 to 35. I'm like, they're very specific and exact. And so while that may have been offensive, I was also at the same time like, swipe right, honey, child, whatever. You know, but I mean, I actually have experienced, especially on online dating, like younger guys, 30s. I'm, you know, again, 43, 35, 36, 37, 38. They all up in the 40s, baby. That's all they want. They just like, give me a 40 plus woman anytime, any day. They're not interested in like younger. And then there's like this gap between the 40-year-old men, the 40 to 45. But then when you get beyond 45, they're kind of looking for, you know, the 40s. So yeah, that's been my experience. So it's kind of hit and miss, but never a direct insult from a man about my age. Like, honey, I look good for 43. I'm not.
I love it. You know what? Let me go to the princess. Because you're not quite a queen yet, but you're on your way.
I'm just still on the fact that a 50-year-old is trying to date a woman. You said between 35 and 40?
No, between 30 and 35.
I would never. I would never date somebody that is 50 years old. That is crazy.
Girl, they got self-esteem big. So those men don't think about like what they actually look like. They think about their wallet, their achievements financially, their career, their homes, their zip codes, their education.
So speaking from that perspective, like when I was 21 and younger, I was dating men that were older, but I never took them serious. I never thought, this is the man I'm gonna bring home to meet my father, to meet my mother, like my grandmother, my grandparents, like that. It was something almost like I felt like when I went out in public with them, I knew I was being judged. So I had a slight embarrassment to it because people will automatically assume this is my sugar daddy. So that's how it looks and that's how it feels. I have friends that did the same thing, and they just kind of was like, they're gonna use them because the guys that were our age were just as broke as us in college. So it's like, oh, he has a car, he has a house. Like, what? That's impressive. So it's impressive if we never experienced it. That's why they seem so superior at that age. So that's crazy to me, because at 30, I'm not going to be interested into a man that's 50. I think at that age, it's like, I know I can get a guy and work with him around my age group at least. So that kind of caught me for like, what? I can't. The audacity for me.
Yeah. I did get caught up at 30 now, B. Taylor. I got caught up, y'all.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I got caught up now.
I guess I started early.
I wish I had a sound effect for shots fired. Yeah, he took me to BB's. That's when BB's was. He had them apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. Hey, he had the whole world. I was in BB's, girl. I was picking out. You remember when BB went across your butt?
Yeah,
girl.
And the girl said, "Is your dad going to pay for it?"
Like, I would let them buy
That's
me
what
stuff
I knew.
but serious?
Yeah.
Serious? No.
Yeah.
And then
I dated that man for 7 years.
Mm.
Okay. So let's go. Let's go. I told y'all we have a good time on this channel. We keep it real. We're grown, right? So let's go to the next question. Ladies, give me one deal breaker. If he do this, it's he gotta go. He gots to go. Oh, my husband is here in the chat. I'm not going to name him. Hi, honey. Yes, my husband showed up for me. But okay, that's not the guy that I date with the apple bottom jeans. That's not him. But a deal breaker. If he does this, he gots to go. Who wants to go first? One thing. He got to go. Lady Jade.
Okay. And I don't mean communicate like just text back, and I mean seriously, like that is a straight up deal breaker for me. The lack of communication or the ability to express your thoughts, your feelings, interact with me in multiple levels of communication, absolute deal breaker. Absolute.
That's funny you said that, because I think a couple of months ago, a study came out that more and more men are less likely to be in relationship because they do not have the capacity to be able to hone in on their interpersonal skills and communicate.
I know.
Callaway, a deal breaker. So if he does blank, he got to go.
Yeah, for me, it would be any type of verbal abuse, or like just, anything that's outside of you pouring into me. If you are a taker, if you're always, I'm always the one pouring into you and I'm left empty, for me, that's a deal breaker. I can't do it. Like, it has to be, we both have to stay full, right? And even if you see me empty, I need to know that I can trust you to fill me up, and vice versa.
I think a lot of people in the chat are agreeing with both of you. And somebody says, I didn't hear the reason. I don't think there's a reason, King. I think that's why it's called a deal breaker. There's no reason. It's a deal breaker. Okay, Lady Ty.
For me, and I think this kind of factors into what Jade was saying about communication, but really just someone who hasn't done the inner work. Like, I've dated men who really don't know themselves. They don't understand their triggers. I can ask, why'd your last relationship end? What was your role in that? They can't answer that. I feel like you should know those things. I feel like I've done all the inner work, and because I've done so much work, it's really easy to recognize someone who really has no clue about who they are. So that's a big one for me. You just have to be open to that. You have to be open to learning about yourself, to learning how you show up in relationships. So a deal breaker for me is someone who's just like not open to digging deep, to being vulnerable.
Yeah,
I get it. I get it. Jamala, I think this is a perfect question for you, because you were just on a dating show and there's a lot of men that didn't make the cut. And I'm sure hold on, y'all. Pass the offering plate. I'm sure there were many reasons. What was a primary deal breaker that just kept
Every time you say dating show, I have like PTSD moment. That's always why I have to like laugh. I feel like it gets really nebular because I feel like my capacity and stamina for things just comes in waves. But like when the light bulb goes off, it's kind of like, okay, gotta go. And it's kind of like abrupt, but it's because it's been brewing. So things that I think are big to me is was hit right on the head is like when you don't know yourself, like your triggers, like it and when you do the self work, it's very true. It's very easy to see. I don't want to say they're false, but they're faults, right? Or red flags. But I think it's so important to have grace for people because even I was in a place where, okay, I just couldn't see myself. It had to be a breakup that caused me to start really digging. So I feel like now when I get to a place and I'm dating and I notice things that they're not who they say they are, right? They say one thing, but then I can watch and see your actions don't even come close to what you say or what you preach. So maybe you're preaching it to yourself so you can get there. So that's where I feel like my grace comes in. But then at some point it has to also stop. But I can say, like, just if I was going to give a response to one, is when I'm in my bag, it's going to be when a man is consistently inconsistent. How are you consistently inconsistent? That one makes me mad. That and playing with my intelligence. Oh my god, I used to get really upset about that one. Like, and when you feel something rising up in yourself that makes you want to snap, that's when you really have to walk away. So I think anything that causes me to react in a way that I know I'm not crazy, like, but I feel like putting the Arthur fist on you, that. But it's true though. Like I can go on a date and speak to a man, and I know that their father wasn't in their life because of the way you speak, because of the way you certain responses. You if I don't know nothing about you, I can tell. So yeah, doing the work, being consistently inconsistent, and playing with my intelligence. I'm just out here lying.
I got to give you space for that, and I'm gonna let that linger at the altar.
Let me close off for a
I'm gonna
second,
let
y'all.
that one linger at the altar.
Look, I want to change my answer to what she said.
Go ahead, Queen Calloway. Then we're gonna go to Princess Taylor.
That consistently inconsistent, it is a pet peeve. Like it's so frustrating, and it's like you're taking advantage of my kindness, and you're taking my kindness for weakness. So I'm gonna definitely add that to my list of cutoffs, deal breakers. Yep.
I think that's great. So B Taylor is the youngest. And oftentimes I felt like when I was that age, I stayed too long. So when you say consistently inconsistent, what would you say to a younger woman? When is it time to just bounce? Ladies?
I think when you can't trust their word anymore, like things happen. We're all human. We make mistakes. Sometimes we make promises that we just can't keep based on our own circumstances. But when you get to a point in a relationship where you can no longer trust them and you can no longer fully, and not even 100% depend on them, but depend on the quality of their words, and like their words and their actions just rarely align. For me, it's like I can't, because what type of relationship will it be if I really can't trust you, right? If you can't tell me something and I can take it to the bank, at that point, then for me, it's either a character issue, or you have too much on your plate, or you don't have time for this. Whatever the case is just not going to be a good fit.
That's great.
I'll definitely say when you see yourself coming out of going blank, going in the dark. And yes, we should be able to handle our emotions and ourselves. But if you see like that's coming to a place where you're testing, like, I don't even like who I am around you, like you somehow are tapping into me changing, I that's when I have to go, because it goes back to being self-aware. Like, no, this isn't me. I feel different. And sometimes it's because they're soaking into you. It's kind of like when you're around someone too long and you start to pick up habits, or even small things like sayings that they may have. Like that kind of just happens when you're around people for a certain amount of time. So yeah, that one's big. And
Lady Kate. I'm sorry, Jamala. Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was just gonna say, to clarify, is this question when we're dating or in a relationship?
So this one is like, what would you say? I'm gonna go to B Taylor's deal breakers, but somebody talked about staying too long, and oh, you talked about being consistently inconsistent, and I said, what would you say to younger girls? When is
Okay.
it time for, like, because I stayed too long when I was younger. So
Yeah.
when you're talking to a younger girl, a young lady, not a young lady, a younger woman, when is it time for her to bounce? Sis, you need to go. Yeah. Go ahead, Jamala.
Oh, I was just gonna say for the original question for in relationship, when that person's not 10 toes down about you. Like if you can't flip, if you're not about to flip the table about me, about my name,
Oh,
it's a pet peeve. I
oh.
got it.
I told y'all my panel, my panels do not come to play. These are real women doing real life things. And what we didn't talk about is what real life things look like. So I'm going to come back after all of this, and I want them to tell you a little bit about who they are and what they do personally and professionally. Lady J, when is it time to bounce?
You know, a lot of times, and I say this in so many situations, what we feel isn't necessarily the truth. However, I think it's important that we pay attention to our intuition. And I think that when you start feeling the physical changes, you're talking with somebody and you physically feel uncomfortable when you're around someone, and you no longer desire their touch. There's like certain things that we as women, I think, gain and experience that also tell us that something is off, you know, something is wrong. It leads you to better questions. It leads you to look for things not just necessarily in how they make you feel, but at least will engage with your partner and try to address where are these emotions and feelings coming from. But I think that we often ignore how we feel and that intuition that women are naturally given, and then we don't explore conversations. So I don't want to make it seem like we should just solely rely on our emotions for that. But you know, as you begin to expand your communication skills, those feelings and those two intuitions will lead you into better communication skills and start asking some questions.
Okay. Lady Ty, when is it time to go?
I think you guys have captured most of them. One for me that I've experienced, I'm going to say, is when you no longer feel like maybe, oh, this is going to sound bad, but it is what it is. Perhaps you're progressing or growing a lot faster than your partner. And there's that possibility that they're holding you back. And I'm not saying, obviously, if this is your partner, you can meet people where they're at. But if you've been together for years and you're doing the work and they're not doing the work, and you can be held back. I've seen it happen to many women that I know personally. And so I feel like if you are in a relationship and you don't feel like it's elevating your life, if it's not adding to what you've already got going on, that's no longer the relationship for you. It's no longer serving you. It's time for them to go find, and you to find someone on your level, essentially.
I love that. I love it because a lot of people will feel some kind of way about you saying a woman has a right to leave, especially a Black woman, because I think Black women have been programmed to long suffer.
Oh yeah, I heard the most awful things from my dad's side of the family when I chose to leave my husband, but am I supposed to be miserable? Like what? Like it's just kind of that. Like what? I don't understand why you guys are mad at me for choosing me. But anyway, yes, I agree.
Yeah. And we're gonna go with B. Taylor. So the original question is a deal breaker. You've heard all of these beautiful queens speak, and you are the princess on the panel, and you're the princess because you haven't reached that queen level yet, but you're coming. And that comes with age and wisdom. What's a deal breaker?
So I feel like with everyone's deal breakers, that's something that I think that I would say, but until I get into a relationship and then I start kind of bending my boundaries. But for me, one thing that I can't bend is you physically cheating on me. Like I know that you slept with another woman. That's something I will never, ever, ever get over. You can't touch me the same. We can't sleep together the same. That's it. Like you soul tie yourself to another woman. So if you can do that to me while we're in a relationship, I can't imagine what kind of husband you're going to be. So that's a deal breaker for me. And then also abusive partner, if you are physically and mentally abusive, that also to me is a deal breaker. Those are the probably 2-3 biggest things for me. Everything else, I feel like if it's an extreme, I'm gonna reach my breaking point eventually and walk away. I'm gonna break like at the point where I'm gonna walk away, and I feel like every woman reaches that, no matter how in love she is, she's gonna eventually get tired and walk away. So I don't really worry about the other things, but those like the physical cheating and abusive behavior is a deal breaker.
I think that's fair. In the spirit of just healthy love, marriage, honoring yourself, living and wanting what God wants for you, I think that's a fair call out. I have a question. I'm about to put y'all on the spot. Has anyone on the panel ever been married? And if so, would you do it again?
I'll go.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know.
Okay, who wants to go first?
I just want to say I've never been married, so I'm out of it.
Okay, so who? Okay, raise your hand if you've been married, so I can know who I'm talking to. All right, the ladies in the middle. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I have definitely been married, and I will absolutely get married again. You know, I think that, you know, some people will come out of marriages and go to the absolute. I'm never going to do it again. You know, I'm forever single, or I'm good with a long-term relationship, but I don't want to enter back into whatever that commitment is. And for me, I absolutely, like, I really want to be married again. And it's
Okay.
not being in love with the idea of marriage. It is the desire to really take that journey again, be vulnerable again, you know, love and be loved again. So absolutely.
Thank you. Lady Ty.
Agree. I agree. Yeah, I 100% will do it again. I mean, like I said, I feel like relationships are a gift. They teach you so much about yourself, and that's I learned so much in my first marriage that has made me into the woman I am today. I think has added to some of the success that I've had today. So yeah, 100%. I will do it again. There's so much value. I feel. I know what the world says nowadays and all that, but I feel like there's so much value in being married. So absolutely.
And you know, with that being said, thank you, ladies, for being so honest and transparent, because a lot of times people get on these panels and they cap. You know what I'm saying? They really cap, but I try not to do that here. I really try to pick panelists that are going to just talk and be real and share. And with that being said, I just want to give like a little bit of recognition to the audience, because Talk with Jeffrey has kept it 100. 100, yeah. Jeffrey has been like, he's been keeping y'all on your toes with all of the beautiful questions. And actually, Lady J called that out backstage, like, hey, let's honor this brother. He's really asking some really good questions. So I am going to pose a question to both the two ladies that have been married. Jeffrey says, some ladies want to be heard, but are poor listeners. How do these ladies show their husbands or partners that they listen to understand and appreciate his perspective? How did you do that in your marriage? Oh, y'all quiet as hell.
No, I didn't want to start first.
That was a good one, Jeffrey.
I'm gonna let Miss Jade go.
That was the honors. You know what? I'll keep it 100. I'm not sure that I did in my marriage. Because there were other factors at play. There were other things that happened in our marriage that I will honestly say that shut me down really, really early. At the end of the day, it probably should have never happened. So I will say very transparently, I did not do a good job at that time. If I were to fast forward and say, how would I honor that now? I think that good communication and listening is about sometimes even repeating back what it is you understood. You can repeat back what was said, but what you understood is really, really critical, and your partner needs to be able to hear that. I think also how we say things is just as important as what's said. I think that men, we hear, oh, women are too loud, or we're too aggressive, or whatever the words are. I do think that you can be heard and be understood and land in a soft place that can be received. Again, just through how you communicate, letting your partner know that what they said was received by how you perceived it and received it. And I think that that's one of the things that I really had to work on, was how I communicated and not being in my emotions, and sometimes realizing that, I just had to deal what the facts were versus, how I felt about something.
That's real. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with a lot of that. I think for me, actually, I felt like I started to shut down too, but it wasn't in the beginning. Like, I met my husband when I was 30. 30 is another age for women I feel like we come into a lot. And so there was a lot of growing that we did together. So in the beginning, it was all in, and then I feel like kind of when I started, I hate to say the word, but we started growing at different levels. And I did start to shut down. I'm being completely honest.
Okay.
When I look back, I probably could have, there are some things he did, but I probably could have communicated a little bit better, but I had already shut down. I'd already shut down by then. And I was already like, okay, this is no longer for me.
Did you ever tell him that?
I did. And of course it was too late. Like, my mind was already made up. Like, I had already started looking to move out. And I mean, like I said, I waited way too long.
Yeah.
Maybe when I first started feeling those feelings, if I had called it out, but I didn't. So that's something that I learned from that relationship. And I had to learn, that was something that even affected me in my professional life. Like, when something is bothering me, I need to speak up about it right away, because if I let it fester, the resentment builds, and it's just, so yeah. So I think now communication is key. When I'm in a relationship, we're constantly talking, constantly communicating. And kind of like Jade said, I want to make sure I'm not just listening. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying to me, because we all communicate differently. I feel like we really do. So just making sure you want to understand what your partner's saying.
I'm gonna switch it a little bit based off of some talking points that Lady Jade and Lady Ty shared. Queen Calloway, Princess Taylor, I'm about to put you both on the spot. Buckle your seatbelts. Queen Calloway, are Black women hard to love?
No.
I don't think so. I think it's men don't understand women, and women don't understand men. And I think that what I'm learning being in these manosphere spaces is that the communication is just off. The communication, how we women communicate one way with our girlfriends, we think we supposed to communicate that way with our man. No one taught us that men think very differently than we do. And then the way they talk to us, we're like, hold on. No. That's what you're not going to do. So it's like, I think we just don't know how to communicate with each other, especially in our community. We are emotional. I think Black men and Black women are very emotional, and we lead with our emotions. As much as men try to say we are very logical, they just as emotional, because they get the yelling and hooping and hollering just as much as we are. And so I just feel like we're very emotional. There's a lot of trauma in our community, and there's a lot of underlying hate for each other, in a way, resentment. I would say that's why a lot of us resent each other, the opposite sex within I can only speak for our community. I think that's the underlying issue. It's not that. I think we're all hard to love. I think it's hard. Some women can say it's hard to love a Black man, and what we got to put up with. And then men will say it's hard to love a Black woman because they don't listen. They don't be quiet. But it's like, we're not being quiet because we got some things to say that's bothering us before we reach our breaking point and leave this relationship. But you don't want me to say it because you just want me to be quiet and give you peace, but you're not giving me peace. So it's just, we're not, it's chaotic a little bit in our community. And I don't know what is the solution for that? I'm hoping that we can find some sort of solution within that.
Yeah,
I'm smiling because Queen Calloway, you paused so long. Girl, you had everybody on the edge of their seat. You
because I was
said,
trying to figure out, like, is it another answer to, like, am I supposed to say yes, we're difficult to love? Like, I'm a Black woman. I'm
I
talking
was
about
ready to
me.
remove you from the show. I was like, that's
I
not.
was looking around like I don't have no other thing, nothing to say besides no. But as we're as the conversation is evolving, I did want to add that I think depending on where the woman is in her life, again, you know, we're the majority of us on here, we're over 40. Maybe we've been single for a while. You know, I've never been married, right? So technically, I've been single all my life, regardless of whether I've been in a relationship or not. I've never made the commitment of marriage. And so I think that men and women have to understand that when you come together in a relationship, you have to recognize where that person is in their life, what their experience has been. We have
Yeah.
so many men and women that come from broken homes that don't necessarily understand how to communicate. I'm still learning how to communicate. I mean, I remember there was a specific relationship that I was in that, and he really taught me how to communicate because I was at a place where I'm like, I'm going to shut down if you tell me something that I don't like. I'm going to shut down if I don't get my way. And so, who's that? Jeffrey's question is like, it's so important to really be able to kind of step outside of yourself and have empathy and understand, like, this man is human. I just had a
Yeah.
conversation with a guy yesterday, and he was like, I have feelings. Like, I have things going on in my life. Like, I need you to hear that. I need you to understand that. And so, as a woman, it forces me to take an examination of how I'm communicating, not necessarily with just men in my life, but people, right? How am I communicating with my daughter? She's 18. How am I communicating with my great nephew who's 5? How am I communicating in a way that allows the other person to understand that I hear you, I respect you, I see where you're coming from? That doesn't mean that I have to agree with everything that you're saying, but
Yeah.
I do have a certain level of respect for the men in my life, my brother. You know, like, these are all things that I feel like there is a certain level of a generational curse in our communities. And so as women, I feel like we are natural givers. We are natural nurturers. We want to hear you. We want you to lay on our shoulders and tell us all your problems and concerns, right? But at the same time, when I don't get my way, I'm like, get on off me. So I have to learn that balance. You know what I'm saying? But as 43, I'm still evolving and I'm still learning in that space. But I do feel like we have a certain level of responsibility to our community, to the young ladies that we are around, to my daughter,
Yeah.
to our nieces, to our children, to teach them, like, this is how you communicate in a healthy relationship. And that doesn't mean just man woman. That's friendships, you know, whatever type of relationships that you're in, it has to have healthy communication. So
I agree. And I think all of you ladies have put something on the table for me to consider. I think a lot of times the goal is marriage, but marriage is a constant state of you need to remain curious. You need to learn and evolve and constantly engage yourself, have a sense of self awareness, right, for yourself and also your mate. So, everything that you've said is correct. Lady Jamala, did you think I was going to skip over you? So, what are your thoughts? I forgot the question.
No, I remember. I remember. Are we still on our Black women hard to love?
Yeah, are Black women hard to love? Yes.
I do. I don't know why I don't like the question.
It's difficult, but it's real. It's
Yeah,
real,
it is
right?
very real.
Mhm.
I'm with Lady E. I'm gonna say no. I think backing up what B. Taylor said in the sense of we speak different languages, just men and women in general, but you cannot would be remiss to not say that the community as a whole, especially when you separate out into like the Caribbean community, for instance, which is what I was brought up in like the way the women are aggressive, but our men are very alpha, so that means nothing to them. Like they're used to that form of communication, but not saying it's healthy. It's just we've just come into a lull, or we've come into a standard of we just understand each other. So I think it's really just about a understanding of one another. And again, I go back to giving grace, because to the point that, who was it? I think it was you that even mentioned like it was a man that you were dating that taught you how to communicate best. Like, look at that one opportunity. Think about all the men that you dated before that. If somebody would have just taken the time to just say stop, the way you're communicating isn't healthy, or it could come off as toxic, or it could come off as, and every person is different. I think every person is triggered based on their background, I'd say, because I feel like also the way I speak, I'd again be remiss to say it, coming out of corporate and where you are, like you pick up a passive aggressive tone, and sometimes it just travels into the relationship, and it's not even your intent, but it's the way it comes off. Or if you're in leadership, right? Like I sometimes may just have a stern conversation, but if you're not used to a woman speaking to you with knowing exactly what she's telling you and not stuttering in what she's trying to communicate to you, you may take that as too much, but it's not that at all. It's just, I want you to hear what I'm saying, So I think it's going back to being nebular. It's such a hard question to just to be able to answer in this little bit of time. I think this takes conversation amongst individuals and or our community, just having an open conversation about this and what it should look like and how best to receive and best to comprehend what's being said. It's a big question, I'd say. I'm sorry.
And I did it on purpose because come on, y'all know me. In some form of fashion, in person, social media, I'm very bold, brave. And I did it because they're saying it, whether we want to talk about it or not, whether it's true or not, they're saying it. And I really want men to see Black women in their natural state, relaxed, happy, loving, community, sharing, giving. This is who we are. No, we're not hard to love. You just got to figure out that sweet spot, right? And you also got to work through your shit. Because I can't be your mama and your woman. But I'm gonna pause there. Because I want to give you ladies space to brag on yourselves, because we never talked about who you are other than a panelist. So I'm gonna work my way from Lady Ty, Queen Calloway, Princess B. Taylor, Lady Jade, Lady Jamala. Who are you? Brag. Let these people know who you are and what you do. I'm going off camera. And don't even wait for me to tee you up. Take your time. Massage it. Let them marinate in it. Let them know you're just not some single woman. You are a successful single woman.
Okay. Yes. So I'll very, very brief. I am first and foremost, I'm a mother. I have a daughter. She's a college senior. But professional life, I've been doing human resources for over 13 years. Worked my way up to a director level. And just recently, when I say recently, like 3 months ago, left corporate, and I've branched out to do HR consulting. And I've been blessed enough to have two really huge companies that I've signed with. So now I'm just kind of on my entrepreneur HR consulting thing. In my time off from corporate, I also got my yoga teacher training. So I'm going to start doing that. So just kind of have a blend of mind, body, and soul, but also I need to make my paper. So
beautiful. Lady Queen Calloway.
Esther Calloway, you guys, I'm from Dallas, Texas. I am a mom as well. I have an 18-year-old college student. I'm an empty nester, so I'm super excited about that. Yes, I am also an entrepreneur. E. Calloway Management LLC is a artist creative management company based in Dallas. It's a booking boutique as well. And then I also am the regional operations manager for Central North America for a global concert company called So Far Sounds. You should definitely check it out if you haven't been to a show. We do amazing pop-up concerts around the globe, and so it's such an amazing time. And then I'm also a member of the Recording Academy. I'm an author of a book called The 61 Day Challenge. So I consider myself a habit coach as well. I'm just trying to teach people how to create healthy habits for their life. And I mean, I'm doing it. I'm a single mama, baby. Listen, I'm traveling. I'm out here living. That's me.
Yes, Shamala, let these people know who you are, Queen.
Hey, y'all. So I am an avid traveler. I am a South Florida born and raised resident. What else? I would say I'm a corporate woman. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a hot cup of espresso. That's the way I like to describe myself. I'm in leadership within the company. I work within corporate wellness, I'd say. So I have a master's in exercise science and health promotion with a specialization in health promotion. I started in my PhD, which was in health promotion and disease prevention. That's on a break right now, on pause. I'm a health enthusiast, so I'm gung-ho about all things wellness. I used to teach spin and aquatics as a group fitness instructor. I'm a whole lot of things. There's a lot of layers to me. But most of all, I'd say, I'm spiritual. I'm a Jesus lover. I have a huge heart. I'm a humanitarian, Black Mother Teresa, wherever that falls. And I'm a good time. I'm a vibe. I'm a dope individual.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. You ready? Let the people know who you are, Princess Taylor.
Sorry, I had myself on mute. Okay, you know how I am, Queen Shiba. I get so much anxiety trying to brag on myself, but I'm gonna do it. Okay, so I'm a mother as well. I'm an award-winning journalist, news journalist. I work at a top 10 news station. I've written viral stories. I've won awards throughout my years of my career. I'm also a YouTuber with over 2.3 million views in total, over 46,000 subscribers. I'm just a writer. I'm a storyteller. I would say that I'm a motivational speaker. I'm a healer. And I'm just living in my purpose and continuing to live in my purpose. And I just recently went viral on YouTube. So I don't know. That's
And
about
we
it.
talked about that. Yes, and we talked about that and we elevated you because you and Queen Calloway said the same thing. Queen Calloway shared that when dating, she exercises her dating options. And I told her that you were attacked for saying the same thing, but in a different way.
Yeah, I don't understand why men are in that space, in that particular space. Were mad at me for saying they want to say I got cooked by a certain person, but I think overall, from all the reaction videos that I have watched, everyone's focus point was me saying women should have different dating options. Women shouldn't just put all her eggs in one basket. They feel like women should just date one man at a time. And even though we don't have that much time, they're always telling us we're on a time clock. But for some reason, we're supposed to date one at a time. But I was actually talking about this today with a coworker. And she was like, even back in the golden ages, women always had suitors to court them. It was never just one man at a time. It was always suitors and let the best man win. Even when you think about the king and queen and princess who had the right to marry his princess, it was men who came, suitors, potential suitors had to come to the king and get approval. And whoever was the best man wins. So you don't know what you like. You don't know who is the best person for you until you actually get to know different people and what works. You won't know what works for you until you expand your options. So for some reason, I got called all types of 304s, and some comment today was like, women like you will end up in the grave because, you have a rotation of men. So it's, when I tell you I've been attacked from like I hate this woman. I'm like, wow, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
But
Yeah.
you're in the right zone.
Yeah.
You have the right covering and the right queens around you,
Yeah.
and divine protection, divine love, and
Amen.
shields of glory, shields of just empowerment. And
Yeah.
with that being said, Queen Jade, Lady Jade, ma'am, brag on yourself, please.
That's a hard space, but here we go. Here we go, right? I earned it for 51 years. I'm a life curator. I was in pharmaceutical sales as a regional director for 10 years. I moved out of that space and became an entrepreneur, had one of the largest event companies in Texas, in Houston, which is where I'm originally from. That turned into a 5-city or 5-state production, took a $3,500 investment, turned it into an $8.9 million company. Then went into the fitness space, actually became a bodybuilder after 41, entered into my first competition, got certified in fitness and nutrition. And so really enjoyed that space. Had a meal prep company for a number of years. Moved on from that and got into the TV space. And I've been a TV producer producing true crime for the last 5 years. So shows such as For My Man, Killer Couples, Snap, Behind Bars, and have just recently worked on the show Project Runway. So super excited about that. And then last but not least, I'm always an entrepreneur. I have a company that is based out of Egypt, which is my travel company. And it's Travel Lux Curator. And then I'm also into brand management. And they call me the brand curator. So work with companies, small to mid-sized businesses, helping them to develop their brand. And that could be, bookings. It could be developing their look, their feel for their business, elevating them to the next level. And right now, this is just a really good space. I'm also a mom. My daughter is 28. My son is 16. And I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, like listen, we're about to y'all congratulate ladies. You ladies are excellent. Just the talent is overwhelming here, from corporate to entertainment, singing, artists, television, innovative, creative skills. I'm just gonna pause in that because I told y'all I had to dig deep to bring and find this panel. We're not trying to just put nothing in front of you, right? I'm not trying to piecemeal things together, but I really wanted to bring some quality women in front of you. B. Taylor, any questions? If you could ask the ladies one question, what would it be as a younger woman on the panel?
Ooh, oh my God, so many, because you ladies are just phenomenal in your careers and everything. For one, I feel like I've passed up a lot of opportunities in the business that I'm in, from working at national news organizations, because I am a mom. The money is great, but the mental health overall wouldn't be good. I've passed up a lot of money for traveling. And, I tell other women that, like, I see why they say don't have kids before you really start your career. But I had my kids first and started my career. And although a lot of people would say, that's great where you're at, like I always saw myself bigger. So it's kind of hard making those decisions to move away to a different state. What advice would you give to, like, a young mother who's trying to thrive in her career, and the option isn't really given? Sometimes I try to tell myself, like, well, God will work it out perfectly for me and my kids, with the scheduling, from the pay to where it's located. But it gets a little discouraging when I have to pass up, like, big opportunities because, I'm a mom.
Ooh, let me take I had my daughter when I was 22. So I understand passing up opportunity. And this is going to probably be a 50-50 answer, with people agreeing or disagreeing with me, but I'm going to say it because it's my truth. I allowed my children to come on the journey. amazed at how adaptive they can be. Now, maybe they would say something different. Maybe they would say the moving to different locations, or the being in different places, didn't afford them certain opportunities to do whatever, build certain friendships or whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm a provider. And I provided life experiences that they grew from, whether that was travel internationally, whether it was the affordability to provide certain luxuries in life, because one day our children will become adults, and then their life becomes theirs. And it's very rare that our children will ever then shift and change their lives just because of us. Now, like I said, that's probably 50-50. It may sound selfish in some ways, but I chose to not necessarily pass up those opportunities. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't select the ones that were right for me, but you will have to be very prayerful and objective about what works for you. But I think you can find balance, and I think you'll find that your children are resilient if mommy communicates with them why decisions have to be made in order to accept certain opportunities that may not always be to their liking. And again, just like we talked about communication in any other relationship, having that open dialogue when they're of age to be able to do that is really important.
So, well, I think so. With that, like the fathers are active. So I have two little ones, and it's like, dad, when these discussions do come up with my oldest, it's like, well, he would have to stay here with me because, his home and family and foundation is here. And we don't want to disrupt that, right? And it's like, well, what kind of mother would I be if I just left my child for a career? And he's so attached to me. Like, he's like, my babies are under 7. So it's like, they're young and they're very attached to mommy. They're boys, they're very attached to me. So it's like, I don't want to be in a situation where they ever come back to me and say, why did you choose career over me? That's my fear. If someone can give advice on that, I don't know.
It's
Yeah,
hard.
yeah, it is.
And I don't think that there's a right or a wrong answer, because the answer that worked for me in my life may not work for yours. That really is a very individual decision. And I think anyone who says, no, girl, you should just go and let them be with their daddy, and that's the right answer, or pass up the opportunity, maybe that's not the right answer. And that's why I said it's a very individual decision, because I can see something right and something wrong on both sides.
Right.
And I really think that if you have a good relationship, especially with their fathers, then it absolutely is an inclusive discussion. I didn't have that at that age. So that was a non-factor for me. And so
Yeah.
I say it's really a very individual decision, but I don't think you should ever take anything completely off of the table just because. It should all be up for consideration and discussion, especially when it's, something you desire and the advancement of your career.
Yeah, I think I always said, like, if Oprah ever reached out to me and was like, for an opportunity, I'm like, bye, y'all. I gotta go. Like, I always said that. Like, if it's a once in a lifetime type of opportunity, it's just, we're gonna work this out. But with just news in general, I just, if anything, if the pay is great, I got to think about the hours. I got to think about, I used to work weekends and I missed out on so much. And I used to sit and cry about it all the time. I wasn't happy. And I would just sit and watch my kid through photos and videos and send me photos of them at the birthday party. And like, I'm never there. So now I've established myself with my job where like I'm able to do those things now. But if I want to expand to be this big international like journalist, then, as a Black woman, it seems like I gotta take those, I don't know, those crappy hours that they try to give you. And you know what I'm talking about? Like when you enter into, like, I'll go ahead. I don't want to name drop, but it's a big, I don't want to name drop. How do I say this without name dropping? It's a big organization that's like, oh, well, you
Right.
do weekends. They always want to give us weekends. I don't know why. I don't know if y'all
I
ever
think Queen Calloway has a lot of experience. She manages artists in the music industry. Queen Calloway, you
Yeah.
deal with this with your artists, you travel, you're constantly having to deal with singers, rappers, groups, bands. You
Yeah.
travel all over the world. What advice would you give B Taylor based on your experience and how you coach your artists and how you help them maintain a good balance between work and personal life?
Yeah, I think that it's really important for you to make the choices that work best for your life and your lifestyle. And what I always, not necessarily just my clients, my artists, but even for myself, I've had to learn how to be very comfortable demanding what I need from work and in my career, right? And so sometimes as Black women, we don't know how to negotiate. We kind of go into interviews very timid and being willing to accept whatever it is that comes on the table versus really learning to negotiate and go into a job opportunity saying, first of all, this is what I'm bringing to the table. What are you bringing to my table? These are the things that I need. This is the schedule that works best for me. Like, I have a child. This is my priority. And so this job is not my end all be all. It's a job, right? This is it's a part of my career, but this is not the only opportunity that I have. And so I would just recommend and really encourage you to not limit yourself, even if you have a really great opportunity that comes. If it causes you to question something that is very important to you, like your relationship with your child or just being present, if it creates a space where it takes you out of that thing, then you're going to end up regretting it at some point, right? Like you said, not being there for birthday parties, seeing things that are happening in their lives on photos and videos. There's a way that you can find a career and a job that really will adjust because they understand how valuable you are to their bottom line, right? They understand how valuable you are to whatever the skills that you're bringing to the table. So just don't be afraid to like go in and own your worth and own your value and understand that I can demand my own schedule. I can say that I need this type of insurance. I can say that I need to work for a company that's matching my 401k and all of these type of things, or going into and saying I can make $10,000 more at another job. We're like, learn how to negotiate. Like literally, just be really comfortable. And even at where I am in my career, I'm still continually learning to say no. Like
Oh,
it's not, it
Yeah.
just ain't worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a great opportunity, but guess what? Another great opportunity will come,
Thank you
and
I
for
that will
love
probably
that.
be better. So
Thank you for saying that because I feel like I burned myself out trying to prove my self worth. I felt unworthy for the longest being in this industry because it's not a lot of us that's there, right? So when I came in, it was like, all right, I got to work these long hours. I got to say yes to everything. I got to say yes to, working other people's shifts and working 7 days or 6 days a week. And I was doing all of that thinking that was going to get me a way up, only for it to be people passing me up who don't look like me, and not doing half of the work that I was doing. And I found it funny that uh, how I wasn't given the skills to how to negotiate, how to negotiate my pay, how to negotiate my hours or how to even say no. I just felt like, I was taught from my grandmother who grew up in a different age. They didn't go to school or anything. They didn't have like a college education. So they were just like, just be grateful. Just be grateful. That's all
Yeah.
I was told. Just be grateful and do whatever those people say. Don't make them people mad at that job. You do whatever they gotta say. So you keep that job. So that's how I had that negative mindset. And here I am being passed up on different opportunities to move up the ladder when other people who don't look like me and don't put in
Mhm.
the same work as me are getting bigger opportunities. So it's just like, how does a young woman, young Black woman in this career in media move up the ladder and without coming off as this hostile, entitled Black woman? Because I found myself being labeled that as hostile, when really I was being assertive and I was sticking up for myself. But I think it was like,
Advocating.
yeah, advocating for myself. But for the longest, I was quiet. So it would come out in ways where it was like it wasn't received well. So what advice would you give to a young woman that's starting in her career or trying to find her voice without being labeled aggressive?
And I think you have two experts on the panel. We're going to start with Lady Ty, who has an extensive background in HR. Extensive. I told y'all I don't play with my panelists. These ladies, all of you ladies are dynamic in and of yourselves. And Jamala has an extensive corporate history. So we're going to start with Lady Ty. I keep saying Tay. Lady Ty. And then we're going to work our way to Jamala, who's a corporate executive who works to solve problems on behalf of Fortune 500 companies. Lady Ty, what would you say?
Yeah, that's a tough one that I've definitely had to navigate myself. And what I will say, honestly, what has served me, and full disclosure, in the beginning of my career, I was kind of like you. I didn't say anything. I just felt like I'm learning. Let me just kind of keep my head down, prove my value, prove my worth, which we have to do that in. But I was really stuck in that. Don't shake the waters. Like don't test anything. And I really had to, maybe 5 years into my career, when I started to see I was being passed over for things, or when I started to see it was like, oh, well, can we really consider Ty's opinion on this? She kind of just goes with the flow. I really started to just speak up, like, okay, I can't do this anymore. Like, I know my value. I know I'm intelligent. I know my stuff. I used to see the consultants that the companies would bring in, and I'd be like, I know more. What is this that they just presented us with? Like, I know more than what is this? And so you just have to get over that fear. Self-confidence is major. And that I think that was tied into it a bit for me too, was just really building up that self-confidence, making sure I had the knowledge that I needed to know to back up what I'm saying. But I've been labeled that combative in my career before. Those things have come up before when I know full and well I'm not being. I'm just advocating for myself. I'm just speaking up. But sometimes that's just something that's Black women were labeled as that. No fault of our own. Those microaggressions exist. So I would just say to you to sit in your worth, like rest in your worth. You know you're worthy. You know how amazing you are. Look at all you've accomplished so far, as young as you are. So you have to kind of rest in that worth and don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. Like, you have to. I know sometimes that's easier said than done, but let me tell you, it gets easier. Each time you do it, it gets easier. And then when you do it and you see the results, you're like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, wait, I should have been doing this years ago. Why was I so scared? Why was I so just terrified to speak up for myself? So that's why, girl, rest in your worth, know that you're worthy, own every accomplishment that you have made so far. And you have to overcome that fear, and it gets easier, I swear.
And Queen Taylor, I need you to rest tonight, because you don't get this kind of advice. I'm telling you, people, you don't get this without paying for it. Right. My panel is fire. I'm talking shit from behind the sidelines because I can do that. But these girls, man, listen, these girls are fire. And I really want you to rest in that, to know you have a village. And not only that, not only are we going to support you, but we have a couple of people in the audience. I want to call out Daryl Long, who wants to host a mental health conversation. And I promised him that I would. Ladies, would any of you be willing to come back to host a mental health conversation for African-American men before we move on?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. So, King, you have our support. And now we're going to move to Lady Jamala to talk about how B. Taylor can navigate through corporate America as a young, up-and-coming executive.
Yeah, so I'll definitely say the media. I know that's something, it's different. It's not my world. However, I know corporate, and I know navigating and going for what you want. And I definitely relate. Like my mom's saying, my parents, both of their saying is kind of like, your bread is buttered on both sides. Like, do what you're doing and just stay kind of even keeled. But I can relate also to Lady Ty. Like, I started speaking up probably about 4 years in, and that was 4 years too long. So I think it's really overcoming that imposter syndrome Because if you can recognize that these people that are passing you up are not as qualified as you, that means you're probably sitting in that space. So if you know that, then that means you may be somewhere around there. So surpassing that and finding ways to surpassing that and sitting in that comfortably and knowing what you're qualified for, you're probably overqualified for. And even if you're not, they can train you to do better. Like they can train you to get to where you need to go. And then I would say finding mentors and I would say, for me, it was a Black male and a female that helped me understand like what I'm doing and how to help me get to where I am. We know that there's a glass ceiling for women. So speaking to a male, and even though he's going to be accepted in a different way, his tone, his word, and what he needed to teach me, I could still use and take from. So I think it's very important. And obviously you have your mentors here that are in that media sphere that can help, but wherever your workplace is or whoever is in the industry that you can kind of lean on and tap into, mentors are so invaluable in what they can provide because they've been there, they're doing it, they've lived it, and you can just skip so many of these other steps. And I wouldn't go any further in your career before you stop and start looking into and finding those mentors like today if you need to. Like get a list. Who do you tap in for X that you go through with your job? Who can you tap into and just be 100% B? Like when they call you, they're like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
Judge you for that. And then there's you have your other layer of like maybe where you see yourself going or who you could truly shadow and fall into kind of like their follow their path. So I think the mentor thing is really big, and then trusting that you know your knowledge and that imposter syndrome we go through is so bad, especially being in corporate or being in that area where there's not a lot of us. So that's the best advice that I could give, and I hope that's helpful. I know it's not media.
No, it is. The imposter syndrome is something that I deal with so bad. Like I have so much self-doubt. It's like, am I qualified? Like, even if a position, there's been, and I partially blame myself. At first I sat around thinking maybe if I prove myself, someone would notice me to, give me this position. I didn't know I had to go for it, And then I was like, maybe I'm not ready. And I was scared because I'm so scared of failing. I'm so terrified of failing because I failed before. When I first entered this news business, I was pregnant with my first son, and I'll say this: I lost my first big time paid job. I lost it because I went in there thinking that people were going to help me, and they did not. And I came off like confident where they thought I was gonna, have it together. So I felt like I kind of like acted like I knew what I was doing, and it got me the boot. And so it took a year and a half for me to build that confidence back up to just even, apply again into the field. And I got into it, but it's just sometimes that fear and that trauma of losing a job because you feel like you failed, that rejection is so big to me. So it kind of hinders me and kind of cripples me in a way for going to top. Like when people say you should go for a management position, like you have so much years of experience, you should go for management. And I'm like, what? I just get like, like choked up, even though I've mentored other people and helped out interns. For some reason, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to be pretending like I know what I'm doing. How do you get over that?
I'm going to say there's a couple of things. Like the media and the entertainment industry is different from corporate. And if anybody tells you there isn't a proverbial glass ceiling, especially in the entertainment industry as it relates to me as an executive director and a field producer, there aren't that many of us out here. And I know that falls true in the newscast arena as well. I will say that what helped me is being in a smaller market. And this is where that flexibility makes a difference. If you want to start off in New York and DC and LA, your numbers are much bigger. Like the competition is just fierce and experience will win. I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee right now. Most people don't even know where Knoxville, Tennessee is. But it's like it was the willingness to stay in a small market to take a big leap. but this is where HGTV is. This is where most true crime is produced. Sometimes, and this is what I meant by be willing to take opportunities in smaller markets to take bigger leaps. You know, I would have never been considered for an executive producer position had I not started in a smaller market, because they would have looked at people with much larger resumes. So I would just say stay encouraged, but also seek opportunities in unfamiliar markets where the competition isn't as fierce. And then you have a much greater opportunity of possibly moving into an arena that you didn't even think you were qualified for.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hold on. Listen, we're killing it. We are killing it as a village. You know, I learned something long time ago. Whether one show up or a million, 1 million, you give the best that you have. You give 110%. You ladies have given nothing less than 110%. B. Taylor and I, on Wednesday nights, we are guests on a panel that's founded by men. They have over 100,000 followers. Okay. I'm like I'm at the whatever, the lowest on the totem pole. But we continue to show up and pour into each other. And what I'm saying is a lot of people are not willing, what you just said, Lady J, to start small. Because a lot of people feel like if I do not have a spectacular start, I am not going to start. When the goal is just to start, move, go.
Mm,
Whether
yeah.
5 people tap in or 5 million, go and show up. Show up. And you ladies have shown up in a way. I don't have 5 million followers. I don't have 100,000. I have 4,000. And in the world of YouTube, that's not a lot. But you ladies are showing up as if you are talking to an audience of 5 million people. And I cannot. I have to just pause and tell you thank you for pouring not only into B. Taylor, but into the audience. So thank you. Continue.
Thank you, sis, for like even creating this platform.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
For
Thank
trusting
you.
your audience. We appreciate that.
Any other questions, B. Taylor, before we move on?
Ugh, uh, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to you, ladies, and definitely
Okay.
follow y'all on Instagram because I don't want to hold up the whole night because there's just so much uh, that I feel like, like in my industry, not a lot of women when I first entered, they saw me as like unqualified or not jealousy, but it was more so like, who is she to think she can come to this top 10 market and she didn't have to go to a small market like me, and I had to work at this small market just to get here, and here she is straight out of college, and it was like I was getting a lot of pushback and people not wanting to like mentor me. So I feel like I'm just now starting to find my voice in media with confidence. Um, and Queen Chiba, no, like I'm just now able to really stand up for myself. And she's still having to remind me, congratulate yourself for this. And I'm like, yeah, really? I have anxiety. So it's like I'm still kind of getting over those loops. And then also just being a mom, and just kind of sometimes just wanting to move up the ladder, but then not sure how to. It seems like you ladies network a lot. Because I don't travel a lot, is that something that I'm probably missing out on, that I'm not going to certain events like
Yeah.
you know
I think the young generation has the wrong concept of networking.
Mhm.
Ladies, please chime in. I think y'all have it completely wrong. Please chime in, ladies.
Yeah, I don't think that you have to leave your market to network. I think that networking is really about being in a room and connecting with whoever is there, right? Whether that is at an event, at the movies, in the lobby, while you're shopping. Like there are just so many different ways that you can network. You can even network virtually at this point. Like it's just so many different events that are happening probably within your own local market right now that you could just probably pop in and hang out for an hour or two and make some really great connections. But just yeah, I would just be intentional with networking, like just make it a priority, whatever that looks like for you, whether that is even through social media. You know, if you see someone that you admire, that you really think that they may have some insight for you, like DM them and say, hey, I just want to let you know that like I see that you're really passionate. This is a question that I have, or maybe we can, like, do you have an event that's coming up? Or just making sure that for me, I really curate my social media page to align with what I'm looking for and what I need to just pour into myself. So the people that I follow, the people that the stories that I'm looking at, like I just really make sure that it is all something that's always going to pour into me. I'm always looking at YouTube videos about imposter syndrome. I wanted to tell you that too. Like you can literally, there are affirmations that you can say on a daily basis. There are even like physical things that you can do, like it's called tapping, that really helps you get over things like imposter syndrome. And so just all of those little things, like there's so many ways that you can network. So I don't think that you're missing out on anything because you're not traveling across the country to do it.
Okay.
Right. I'm 34 this Saturday, so I don't know if I'm like on a cusp of it. But I also say October gang, 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 gang. I also say
Libra gang. Okay.
I also say utilize those professional networks, right? You obviously have the national ones, then you have the local ones. So that can help you, for more local opportunities. Black Chamber of Commerce's, like you never know who you'll meet at those events. What's another one? Just tapping into the professional networks and along with everything that you should just said. So the social media, like you hitting right on it. Like you have Clubhouse, you have Instagram, you TikTok, you can make a TikTok asking for the help for the media mentors and they will come. So utilize those strengths that you have right at your fingertips. And again, I guess is that an old school, like using professional networks?
No, that's the way to do it. Yeah, like that's my biggest client that I found for my consulting business. I met at a Dallas area HR luncheon, and we just happened to start talking and networking. And so, wait, you work for who? What are y'all's needs? And that's really how we connected. So I advocate professional organizations all day.
Yeah. And you know what? If I can make a T-shirt, I would make a T-shirt that says "Sit at the bar."
The airport bar too.
Professional people with money, entrepreneurs, innovators, creators knows what that means. You meet some of the most successful people at the bar. Sit at the bar.
I met you at the bar. I did.
Really?
I
sit at the bar.
I'm so friendly. So I would go when I was 20, when I made 21.
Hold on, girl. You telling my age?
No. I'm just saying when I was 21. I don't know how old you were when I met you. When I was 21, I was at the bar and I used to sit there by myself and she was there and I think I was being so. Can you tell? Sorry, Queen Shiba, can you tell me how I like introduced myself? Because you repeat it so funny.
Hold on, let me come back to that because we're gonna wrap up with how did we meet?
Okay.
How did we meet? I want to come back to that, but I want the ladies to. I have one final question before how do we meet, ladies, all of you. Do you feel men are actually intimidated by successful women like yourself, Lady Jamala?
Dang it.
She's like, dang.
So let me say, I do not say that out loud to a man ever. I never, even if you know it with every fiber of their being, they could say it to you. I won't repeat it back. That is one thing that I've learned. But I have met men who own their own business, extremely successful, come off as extremely alpha, and have walked through my house and was just like, that's why you act like that. And I'm just like, what does that mean? Like, there is an air that you carry, I guess. And I'm just like, I just own my house. It's a townhouse. It's a 2-story townhouse. You act like you walked into a mansion. So, and that was an area that he didn't have. He didn't own his house yet. But you don't have to own. If you enjoy renting, you enjoy renting. So it's Something as small as that, like that small goal that I wanted to accomplish. The man was doing the math, like, so when did you own your house? Before 30? Oh, okay. And after that day walking through my house, he never talked to me the same. It was just I felt devalued after that. Like, so that's just an example. So for me, I do not say it out loud to men. However, I have seen examples that have come through and through that show some type of intimidation. And I don't know why, because I'm not even a person to even tell you that. You'd have to ask me, like, oh, so you own your home? I'm like, yeah. Like, I don't even do the humble brag. Like, I just don't sometimes. Like, and I need to step more into it for myself. Like, it is what it is. This is just a fact. But so I'll say I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
And I've seen changes with men based on just through conversations, and it just shifts when they find out certain levels of success that have come that I've earned. So,
Oh wow.
yeah.
Queen Calloway.
I have not fully experienced it like in a relationship per se, but I have just been around men that I intimidate, unfortunately. And it really is that is a red flag for me, because it just tells me that you're not as confident in who you are as a human being, let alone a man, to allow, my accomplishments to really intimidate you or make you feel like you're less than. It's never intentional either. It could just be me being me in a room. But that just says that maybe you have some, self-esteem issues, or you don't necessarily feel as accomplished as you should. And maybe they're killing it and just think that they should be killing it even more. So for me, it's just insecurity.
Can't say that out loud either.
There you go, Benny. A true alpha man is not intimidated. That's right.
Lady Ty.
That's true, Benny.
Yeah, and I have to agree with the ladies. I've definitely experienced it too. Not all men, obviously, but the wild thing in my experience, I feel like my success is almost the thing that attracted them to me. Like, ooh, but as we started dating more, little things would come up, and it's like, okay, wait, am I too? Is it too much? Like, you had liked it when it was maybe fit into whatever is in your mind. I don't know, but just little questions would come out, and I'd be like, okay, wow. Yeah. What year is your car? What? Like, why are these things? Why does that matter? So, so I've definitely experienced it, and I definitely agree with Ecal. It's a red flag. Like, that lets me know right now you're not confident in who you are. You're not and it's only going to get worse from there. So I definitely kind of bow out when I start seeing that kind of behavior, for sure.
Lady Jade.
Short answer, I definitely see it, and I call it out. I'm saying it.
How do you say it? How do you say it?
Because to the point that all the ladies have expressed, success and whatever I've accomplished in my life is not a reflection of how you interact with me. So if you are insecure, or if you feel a way about the things that I have done in my life, this is kind of a non-negotiable conversation as far as I'm concerned, because it is about you and not about me. So yeah, I'll call it out. That's where, because I think that there is a lack of ownership too, on their part. So it's like, why should I pacify and play with that conversation when it's clear what the problem is, and it's not me. So yeah,
I love this. I wish we could just host a dinner and a brunch and just talk to women.
We should.
That would be awesome.
Okay,
you know what? We really could. That would be so nice.
Let me pop my ponytail.
Don't threaten me with a good time, honey.
Okay. We may have to come up with something. B. Taylor, what are your thoughts?
Oh, wait, you lost me with the question with the brunch. I'm thinking about, I love a good mimosa and brunch. Look, when you say brunch, my mind goes somewhere else. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question? Can you repeat the question for me, please?
So the question was, I forgot.
Are men intimidated? Men being intimidated.
Okay, yeah. Look, brunch is on my mind. Okay, Yes, I think men are definitely intimidated. They try to pretend. What I'm getting is imposter syndrome of men pretending to be something that they're not, because they think what type of woman I am because of my career. They try to come off like, oh, I know you're this type of woman because you've accomplished this, so I gotta try to big up myself and big up my pay and big up my accomplishments in life because of what you do. And then when I find out who they actually are, it's kind of like, that's not who you even presented. Why did you can't just be yourself? So that's what I'm dealing with, I'm because I'm in my 30s. Well, now I'm entering my 30s. It's like the men are very kind of like they're impressed by what I do, but at the same time, they try to big up what they do in a way. Um, or I'll have guys that are like wanting to talk to me because they want to get into the industry. And they're looking at me for as their inspiration, like, oh, I want to be on radio, sports radio. And I'm like, okay, so what are you doing? Well, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, well, do you at least have a blog? Like, I'm not gonna be carrying your hand for you and telling you the way how to do this. Like, you're a man. Like, you got to get it together on your own. Like, I'm not there to like baby you and pick up the steps. So that's what I feel like I'm dealing with. Well, I'm not dealing with that now because I'm obviously in a relationship. But when I was single and dating, that a lot of men definitely were intimidated. But it was also a conversation starter. So especially it didn't matter who you were. Once I said I work in news, they're like, oh my God, do you know this person? I'm like, yeah. And it's just like a whole conversation, and they're just extra nice and kind and stuff like that. But as in dating, a lot of men are very intimidated by it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Jamala, did I get you? Okay, last question. How did we meet? I'll start with Jamala. You can keep it vague.
Do you want to talk about it?
Just vague.
I think I was out visiting, right? We were out on a work event. Did I help train? I don't know, because I train nationally, so I don't remember where you fall. Okay. It was some years ago. It's definitely not. It's some time ago. It was definitely
So
some time
corporate?
ago. It was a
In a corporate setting?
work event. I think we spoke. I probably was I presenting that on that one? And then I think we spoke mostly at the dinner. And I think you had questions like, why is your team so cool? Like, I feel like that was a question that came from you, like, why do y'all get along like that? I'm just like, it's just our way. It's just a South Florida way. It's just like, y'all don't have that? I don't know. I remember that conversation. Like, you were inquiring about it. Like, we're not like that on our side. And I was like shocked. And I think from there we kind of just stayed in touch. You and your other counterpart. I think she's definitely still there. I had to advocate for her. Did she tell you about that? Girl, it's a whole other story. But yeah, I think we, in a corporate setting, drinks were flowing. And we just had a real conversation. I feel like we just kind of just clicked.
And the reason why I'm asking this question is I want the audience to see the power of networking. Queen Calloway, how did we meet? From what you can recall. No, you bet not. I know what you're gonna say.
Wait, say it. Put it in the text.
Okay, I'm not gonna say everything, but we met at college, Midwestern State University. I was walking across the parking lot, and I saw Mika sitting on the car. But listen, and it wasn't her. And she was like, "Don't get it twisted." And I was like, "Hi, how you doing?" And she was a Delta, so I was real. Now we're sorors, of course, but Tamika pledged me.
Tell them what we pledge, what sorority we belong to.
Beta Sorority Incorporated. That's Jane.
Yes.
You.
But let me back up.
We got Greek love. It's all Greek love.
We got Greek love.
Yes.
He's a true entertainer. I have to brag on you because you started. We went to a predominantly white college where most people went to become medical students and or doctors when we first went. And you started something that we did not have on college. You started a gospel choir where you started saving students' lives. We travel all over. We sang and we praised the Lord. Listen, we were on
It's
fire.
still going on. Can you believe that? Like, As One is still active on
It was
campus.
called As One Gospel Choir.
Yes.
And I
And
sang my ass off in that choir.
yes,
Didn't I?
you did, baby.
She didn't pick me to lead a solo. I'm still mad about it, but that's okay. But look, Queen Esther, can you give us a little snippet? Because her sister actually sang with Israel and New Breed. So
Yes.
she comes from a line of singers and performers and entertainers. Can you give us just a little bit?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back.
Wine in me.
I've been trying to tell myself. Come on, girl. I don't need you. All right, let's go. Ty, how did we meet?
I know it was at Midwestern, but I don't remember exactly how.
Girl, you know you was a cheerleader, and I was at all them games.
I was.
You don't remember she was a cheerleader?
Oh my God, I'm literally like, Ty. Oh my God.
Girl, she was one of the only black cheerleaders. We went to like a white school, y'all. I'm sorry. That's where you be. I wanted to be a doctor. I don't know what y'all wanted to be, but that's everybody went to be a medical student, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we all showed up, but Ty was a cheerleader.
Yes, girl.
Ooh, with sexy legs, and she all that good stuff. Talking at the beer garden. You remember the beer garden?
Yes, girl.
Yes, girl. She was drinking beer. Black people, we were like, you drinking beer? We was drinking like white Zinfandel. But go ahead.
Yes, but no, I don't. I just remember Tamika as a social butterfly. So I'm sure we met at a game, a pep rally, something. So, but yes, definitely connected.
Lady Jade, I remember how we met, but I'm gonna see what you gonna say.
Look, you slid in my DM, right?
I like that. Okay, you better tell them it's fitness because they gonna be like, they make up shit on the internet.
You're right. Oh my goodness. Like that was it, right? What was it?
It was in a fitness arena. Absolutely. It was like a fitness. It was like this lady was hosting like this event in Northwest Texas. I'm not going to say the city we live in because these people, and we were like, we just connected on that level.
Many
years ago.
Yeah. And you know what? Didn't actually recall that until you just said it. And so, yeah, that is the power of networking. And look, I am all for that social media introduction. And I can't say about how important that is, but two of my best celebrity clients to this day was because I was up in their DMs thinking, they'll never answer. They'll never, somebody else is running their page and somebody else was running their page, but right time, right place. I made the connection. And when the story comes out, I'm going to remind everybody, remember I said that about sliding up in somebody's DM pays off because all I can say is, but grace, there is something to be said for the benefits of social media. And yeah. Use that.
Amen. Princess Taylor, how did we meet?
I'm on mute. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
We met at a restaurant bar. I was sitting there and I don't know. I just like to go to the bar by myself. I didn't have anybody to go get a drink with. So I was like, I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to be independent and go by myself and tell myself I am strong enough to sit by myself and just meet people. And she was sitting there. I cannot remember, but I think you were drinking the same thing I was drinking. And I was like, "Hi, I'm P. Taylor." I'm not gonna say my real name, but I was like, "I'm P. Taylor," and she was like, "Okay."
Callaway, I was like,
She was like, "Why is this girl talking to me?" But I,
who is this young girl? But go ahead.
And then I don't forgot what we talked about. But I just started.
You started telling me about being on college. You were in college.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about.
I was already graduating. I'm like, Lord have mercy. Here we go.
I think I was talking about a Omega. A Q dog I was talking to, and I was like,
that's what caught my attention.
And I was trying to get advice like these Q dogs, and she was letting me know. So we just started up a conversation, and then next thing you know, we started getting drinks together all the time, and the men at the bars was buying our drinks and our food. So we were like, "Girl, do you want to go to so-and-so so we could get some drinks?" And we just, it was fun. It was fun.
And it really blossomed into a beautiful sisterhood amongst all of you. All of you. You ladies are the epitome of class. You ladies are the epitome of Ruth and Naomi. And what I mean by that, come on now. At some point, either we are receiving wisdom or giving wisdom. And that's what it's about. And that's what tonight's discussion was about, seeing Black women in their essence and how we truly come together and we build and we heal and we mend and we give life, and anything we touch, we maximize. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a great note to close out on.
I agree, girl. Snap.
With that being said, thank you all for showing up as your true selves, not only giving birth to me, but giving birth to the palace on the behalf of Queen Shiba. Yes, because you can be anything in these YouTube streets. Just be yourself. Ladies, thank you so much. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. We love you all. Good night.
Girl, I know. I'm like, I don't know how to turn this off. Okay, bye, girl.
Mute.